step into the ring, the bell's about to chime. Turnbuckle talk, we're here to shine. Flagship on the airwaves, leading the pack. Breaking news reviews, we've got your back. From the squared circle to the backstage news, we bring stories that you can't refuse. Turnbuckle talk, the voice of the fight. Every slam, every suplex, every highlight. Tune in weekly, don't miss a beat. For the latest in wrestling, we bring the heat. From AEW to WWE, we cover it all from A to Z. Interviews, insights, and match reviews. If it's wrestling news, we got the clues. From the squared circle to the backstage news, we bring stories that you can't refuse. Turnbuckle talk, the voice of the fight. Every slam, every suplex, every highlight. Tune in weekly, don't miss a beat. For the latest in wrestling, we bring the heat.
As a wrestling fan, we sometimes get overlooked in the way of how we perceive pro wrestling. Sometimes we just see it for the action on TV. We forget that there is stuff going on behind the scenes. On today's episode, we talk about a few different topics. We talk about the difficulty of what selling a private jet can be. We talk about the health of good old JR. And we also talk about the positives of where Survivor Series War Games is going to take place, as we also talk about a partnership with WWE and Real Short. But the main thing we talk about is what we all want as a wrestling fan base, is the ability to kick out after one night of a Royal Rumble. So on episode 483, we ask the question, should the Royal Rumble be a 2-night PLE? My name's Chris Parrish. I'm alongside Chris Best, Logan Thompson, and Bubba Duke. And this is Turnbuckle Talk, episode 483. Chris Best, how are we? And what is our first topic of the evening? And Bubba Duke, Logan Thompson, how are you guys doing as well?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad to be back here for a second week in a row. So thank you to the higher ups and the Godfather for that one. Logan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm jacked. It's my first turnbuckle since joining y'all. So
Nice.
it's nice to be finally in on one.
Nice.
All right. Looks like, Best, are you good to go? Thumbs up?
What? Yeah, I'm good. I got it all. I'm here. I'm alive.
All right.
I think.
All right. What is the first topic of the evening?
Well, you mentioned it in the opener. We got to talk about this one as announced last night on Monday Night Raw, but WWE is going to be swinging for the fences as Survivor Series War Games will be in Houston, and it's going to be played it's going to be at their ballpark, which I still call it a Minute Maid Park, but they're called it's Daikin Park in Houston, the home of the Astros, Saturday, November 28th. I am looking forward to this one here. I cannot wait for this one, guys. War Games has been one of my favorite matches, and honestly, the Astros have one of my favorite stadiums in the MLB.
Let's start off with Logan. What are your thoughts about Survivor Series not only going to Houston, but at Daikin Park as its venue?
I think it's an interesting choice, even given the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, what is it? The Texans play in NRG Stadium still? If that's still the naming rights of it anyway. I think it's a great switch up. Having that open air park, middle of November in Houston, Texas, is going to be beautiful weather. And I'm expecting a hell of a show. It's going to be a good time.
Bubba, your thoughts?
I'm actually excited. They're going to not just Houston, but we're going to Texas. So how many Texans legends are going to be in the house? Are we going to have Stone Cold? Are we going to have The Undertaker? Are we going to, the list goes on of people that are from that state. Now, they renamed the park. They didn't build a whole new park. Is that what I understand? And
Yeah.
okay, I thought they built a whole new park because I haven't seen this side of the building yet.
It does look a
I'm
little different.
excited. I'm excited, guys. And war games. Who doesn't like war games? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, and this is the second year of them hosting inside a baseball stadium. This is tremendously excited. They had a lot of success running it in Petco Field last year,
Okay.
and I'm looking forward to again. The one thing I like about when they do these stadium shows, I love the vibe, the atmosphere, the different look that we get instead of seeing, your traditional arenas that we see on Monday nights and Friday nights. I love the whole stadium atmosphere when it comes to these shows.
The best part, I think, is the acoustics you get from these parks. Because you got to think, you hear a little crack from a ball on a bat in these things through the whole place. And now you're getting a wrestling ring in the middle of that, and guys being in a cage. You hear that cage rat. So I'm excited to hear what kind of ambience we get from this stadium
Mm-hmm.
to last year.
Yeah, and I think the one thing we didn't really get the best view of when this announcement was made on Raw last night was just the view of the stadium. Like, if you actually go and check out just the view of every little angle, like, this is a beautiful stadium. And what I'm gonna love is just just how many different camera angles we're gonna get, but also the visual. Like, imagine if it's a clear night and a clear day, and they do keep the roof open because it is retractable, if I'm not mistaken. If they keep that open and you get that outer shot with the cage over top the rings, just how cool of a visual that's going to look, and just the aesthetics that come along with it. Not to mention, you're adding tens of thousands of live audience members and fans to be there. So it's going to absolutely be a great crowd. You talked about that, the acoustics of it. So everything is going to sound great, but I am also just looking from the visual, because now we're seeing Survivor Series back-to-back ballparks, and this just sets the tone of how much larger Survivor Series as a whole is. Where in years past, we were talking about, is Survivor Series out of the top 4 of PLEs in the major fields with WWE. Now it's stepped up its game. It's ever since that War Games took over, and now these pushes for the ballpark. It really seems to make Survivor Series a must-watch and can't miss PLE.
Very quick before we have to, do you see, like, WrestleMania? Do you see Survivor Series being that now we're stepping up towards trying to be as good or as big as a WrestleMania with one night only?
I think it's
or Survivor Series 2 nights.
It's one night.
One night. But I think at some point we are going to be discussing that, having the exact same conversation that Survivor Series will also be a 2-night event. There's tons of talk about that every year. But I don't think you're wrong. I think you're definitely on the right track when you say, are they going to try to consider this on the same level as WrestleMania for a 1-night event instead? My hope in that is that they put a little more into the entrances, into the ramps, into the stage area, just to give it that little bit extra of a feel. Other than that, I think it could definitely be.
And that's where I'm going to kind of counter you a little bit there, Logan, because what they did last year is what I absolutely love. The minimalist setup was just beautiful, and it works in these baseball stadiums. And I kind of would like to see them do that again, just that minimalist setup. They come out through the dugout just like they did at last year in Petco Park, and they just come to the ring. Because that it looked awesome to me when they did that.
Oh yeah, I just think it's interesting. Like when I go back to like big entrances like that, I just go back to WrestleMania 19, Safeco Field in Seattle. That being a baseball stadium, it was a really good entrance ramp. Being as simple as it was, just a really cool entrance ramp.
Yeah, and like one of the cool things is when they are in a minimalist stage, you're allowing more seats to be added onto the actual field as well. So you can just really add and boost that audience and those numbers for live viewers. So like it's going to be interesting to see, but like, again, like that visual is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And as someone who loves to cheer the blue and orange, I love the color choice that they decided to use.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I do think this is the time where we'll play our first ad. Correct, Best?
Yeah, and I think since people are going to need to be shopping for some tickets to go to the show, they might as well just head on over to our shop and check that out.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at turnbucklestudios.org.
Awesome. And yeah, one last thing. Go to turnbucklestudios.org, hit that shop function. It's right there at the beginning, or you can go /shop. That is your best direct way of hitting that. And besides, if you want to check out a product out, make sure that you're snapping a photo and you're sending us this, because we'll just give you a live shout out on screen. As before we get Best, when you come back in, we'll just let everybody know that Turnbuckle Studios also wants to make sure that you're hydrated when you're on it. So if you want to go to w.gg and use that promo code TB Studios, you can save 10% off. And you know what? It's a pretty good deal if you ask me.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Best, what is next on the agenda?
Let's see. The next on our agenda is actually kind of a sad story, really, but something that we all grew up with this gentleman here, but Jim Ross, he is scheduled to go for brain surgery. He 74-year-old Jim Ross, who currently works for AEW, said during his recent Grilling JR podcast on Friday that he needs to get a shunt to drain fluid from his brain. And these are his exact words. That's going to be an adventure because I don't think they're going to find much in my brain, Ross quipped before getting serious. Of course,
You're muted yourself, Best. Yes, you were muted.
Okay, what? He's saying that hopefully will nothing go wrong. He does have a great surgeon. He does have to go to a cardiologist, a heart doctor, and talk about the upcoming procedure. And he had to approve it or they wouldn't do it. So it sounds like it's a fairly serious situation. We all know that he lost his wife to a brain injury some years ago. So as this graphic here says, he is tougher than a $2 steak if he can safely make it through.
Yeah, and we all know that he's already dealing with cerebral palsy, and he's a big advocate for that. We always know that even through these tough times, he's always still just putting 110% into what he does. He is a warrior. He follows his, Sooners, and he's always battle tested and battle proven. But I'll turn this over to Bubba Duke for now. Just your thoughts on the health update of Jim Ross, as just like all of us grew up listening to him as he's the narrator of our childhoods.
Right. Him and the King were our guys growing up. Again, I give best wishes to JR and a speedy, healthy recovery. But at some point, JR, bro, like you got to just hang up that mic and just worry about yourself. And like, we're not going to get mad. You've done enough for the wrestling industry, business in a whole. Take care of yourself, man. I know here it says, yeah, you're tougher than a $2 steak. I mean, he really is. We're not lying. The guy is a tough, tough man. Just, I wish him nothing but the best, in all honesty.
Logan, your thoughts as you are the younger one here. You might only know Jim Ross from his time on SmackDown opposed to Monday Night Raw, but let us know your thoughts on this.
I mean, what else can you really say about the guy that hasn't already been said, right? We're talking about one of the most legendary commentators of wrestling history. We're not talking about one show. We're not talking about one company. We're talking about overall. This guy was the voice of everyone's childhood who watched from even the late 90s up until now, even if you're only catching him on glimpses on AEW TV or if you're catching his podcast. I hope that he makes it through this with as little issues as possible. Would I love to keep seeing him doing what he's doing in AEW? Absolutely. But as Bubba even pointed out, maybe it's time to take care of you. You know, you've taken care of the wrestling business for 40 years doing what you do. So maybe it's time that we focus a little bit on you and give you that it's okay, you can let go now kind of moment to enjoy the rest of his life as much as he can.
Yeah, and I mean, let's talk about some of his most famous calls. I mean, the one thing that's running through my head right now is when Foley got thrown off the cell, and as soon as he said that, as soon as that happened, you hear Jim Ross shout out, "As God is my witness, he is broken in half." And the way he shouted that out, and the way he just communicated stories to us that from what we were seeing in the ring were just on a whole other level.
Yeah. And on that same kind of note, like while this one's a little more on the sad side, I also have to give him the credit for having the call after finding out about Owen. Like I couldn't imagine the position that he was in that moment, and to be the true consummate professional that he was an intense and an insane moment to have to deal with in his own right. So, I mean, for him to have to deal with it and come back and handle it the way that he did, that's just another tick in my book for the positives of Jim Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's so easy to talk about Jim Ross post WWE and say, "Oh, this wasn't the Jim Ross we grown up to be or to love," or maybe it's a little different because of just, you know, sometimes you'll go on Dynamite and call it Monday Night Raw, but at the end of the day, Jim Ross is just an icon to the pro wrestling world. He's one of the greatest of all time in what he did. Mentioned narrative, or the narrator of our childhoods for a generation. And you look at a cowboy hat and you really look at just a few people. He really transitions the way you perceive a cowboy hat in pro wrestling. And he also transitions how to be a top commentator in pro wrestling. Like you said, Bess, one of the best at coming up with some of the most iconic phrases. I remember him making the word Jezebel something of like value instead of taking the easy road out and using more derogatory terms.
Yeah.
He put class into what he said. He just used his emphasis. He told the story the way a commentator should be doing it. And for that, he goes down as one of the greatest of all time. And as you echoed, Bubba, we want him just to worry about his health. But at the same time, we all know how it is. Sometimes you just have to work to disguise your health problems. But at the end of the day, we know Jim Ross is going to fight it. We just want you to get back out because, by God, we want to hear you once again.
Yes.
I say also on an ending note there, like just the hatred that he had for Triple H. Every time Triple H is on screen in like the late 90s, mid 2000s, why Triple H? Why? Like just so good.
Yeah. All we can say is just a speedy recovery to JR if once the surgery pops up. But I think it's time to move on to the next story, guys. And I got a question to ask you guys. First of all, do you guys have $10.5 million at all laying around?
Let me check.
Yeah, hold
Canadian or American? Because I only have pesos.
Hello? Yeah, I got
possibly American, because the WWE is selling their jet. They're selling it for $10.5 million. It's their private jet that they're selling. And yeah, WWE is going to future endeavor their jet. Now, there is a buyer that has expressed interest in it, and that is already a man who is already employed by the WWE in Logan Paul. Is this a waste of WWE's money to purchase a private jet, or is this just they need this so that they can cart some of their big stars around, plus their executives and all that, or what is this?
Well, I believe we talked about this yesterday, and we do believe they have a newer private jet. Like, this is a 14-year-old private jet. So the one that's out there, like, I believe they do have a new model of it. So I can understand why they're moving it. Was blown away about the asking price, but I was even more blown away when I heard Logan Paul was whether it was a joke, whether it's real, just talking about buying it. It made me wonder just how much money that guy truly has, but that's not the point here. But
yeah,
we've seen the inside of this private jet, whether it's on like older like backstage shows. Like, I remember watching Confidential and seeing the inside of the private jet for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a nice looking jet, and you can only imagine the stories that could be told on this. Obviously, it's always sad to say goodbye to anything, but at the end of the day, how cool would it be if somebody's just driving this? I wonder if whoever buys it has to repaint it, because are you going to fly around with that WWE logo right there?
I would assume they'd have to paint that. Let's be honest.
Yeah. The only thing I know is when purchasing these kind of jets is, sure, you might have to repaint it, take off the WWE logo, but the one thing you cannot take off is what I'm looking at right now on one of the engines, the plane number. You cannot do that. That's the license plate, basically.
Yeah. That is your call sign for that plane. It's even in there's like a sensor or a radar that goes off, and that's the number that bings, is that N24.
Yeah.
On radar. But the asking price, I don't think that's a huge asking price, to be honest, guys. Let's be real.
Not for a $14 or $14-year jet. $14. I'll go buy the jet.
Let's go get it right now.
You got to remember, okay, not only are you buying the WWE private jet, okay, let's think of the people that have rode on that plane. Let's think of the fact that this plane has been maintained for 14 years by WWE. So it's going to be practically a new plane. It's not like they leave old circuits and it's been updated and upgraded and brought to code to keep it on the runway and in the air. So a 10 point whatever $1 million asking price. If I had the money, I would buy it and park that shit in my backyard. Pardon my language, sorry. Park it in my backyard and sell tickets for people to go on it and take pictures with it. Literally, and I'd make my money back in no time.
Yep.
I mean, one of my favorite angles when I think of the WWE jet is when DX spray painted it and just basically took over the jet for an entire episode.
Was that not used as a way to repaint the whole jet to begin with? And like, I think
that's why they did it.
That's one of the things I loved about Vince is he was always willing to use, like, whether it's the corporate headquarters or even the private jet, and use it as a way to help facilitate a story on the show. Like, you got to always give it to the guy, even if the story was weird. He would still have he would have the grapefruit, damn it, to do it. But Logan, what are your thoughts about this?
More or less, I kind of wanted to touch on what you were saying earlier, Chris, when you mentioned the whole plane to begin with. If those walls could talk, if those walls on that plane could talk, the stories that they would tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, some of them are not going to be great, but that's part of history regardless, is that you're going to have good with the bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, to own a piece of history, like this thing, again, spray painted by DX, flown all over the world with countless stars, not just wrestlers. I bet money that there's a lot of celebrities on this plane with Vince as well, if they were going to WWE shows as well. So to have, and again, to Bubba's point, like 10.5 million is not a crazy asking price for something like that to the average person that will never ever see the inside of this plane in real life. Obviously, that's not even in the question, but it's just like, yeah, for $10.5 million, if I had it, yeah, I'd probably spend it.
But like,
Yeah.
I also want to kind of point out this. We knew that the reason why Jordan Grace wasn't on screen for a while, she was trying to be a pilot. Maybe this could just be used as practice for her to get her degree or her license as a pilot.
Yeah.
But I also want to point this out. This is a Bombardier Global 5000. So that's a pretty big
Yeah, they were like royalty back in the day.
Yeah, and this is I know, I happen to know the model of jet. It's actually these jets are little speedster jets. Like these they'll get you across the country in like 2 hours tops, you know.
It's beautiful.
And
like we heard like the history of like trying to get into two cities in one night. Like who remembers when the Shield had to wrestle twice in one night? And they used the jet to land, and like it's just crazy. I think we seen Charlotte do a WrestleMania entrance coming out of the jet as well at one point. Like the memories we have from this is pretty insane. So to see it be given away and sold, I mean that's history kind of out there. I'm surprised that the warehouse doesn't want to put it right in there. You would think that
the warehouse isn't big enough for that thing.
Well, I mean, you see all the way on TikTok, like people making like homes out of jets. Like how cool would it be if the warehouse started off walking inside the private jet?
So you walk in one end, walk out the other. That'd be pretty cool, dude.
Now I wonder, does the jet have a 90-day non-compete?
Well,
sorry, I had to
you
ask.
need to go back and listen to Mr. Ginger Mahal. The no compete clause is not a real thing, but that's not the story we're talking about.
But yeah, I mean, whoever has that 10.5 million, I say go out and get this jet. You're going to own yourself a piece of history right here.
Yeah.
Call the bank right now. Get that loan. Get it up.
And and you may need help purchasing that jet, just like we need help around here. So take a look.
A Turnbuckle affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, video skims, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
And that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Just go over there to turnbucklestudios.org. Click the join link in the top right corner. And there's a tiny little questionnaire there. We just want to know who you are and if you have any experience in the podcasting industry or any experience just being on camera like this. If not, not a big deal. We're still here to help and get you your start in podcasting. Again, turnbucklestudios.org. Mr. Best, what do we have next?
Yeah, so our next story was shared by...
You muted yourself again, my friend.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're just not allowed to say where it came from.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah.
We have our next story was shared out by our main man, Carl Careful, who couldn't be here today. So right now, WWE has made a partnership with a company by the name of Real Short, in which case they are going to be doing a bunch of short dramas on this on this platform, or they're calling it micro dramas. The partnership will pair WWE stars with two well-known vertical actors, they're calling them, for a story whose details are under wraps. So they're partnering up to make a dramatic story or a dramatic series with Real Shorts here. And I've had a chance to I actually did a little bit of fishing around on what Real Short is here, and it is basically like an app where you can go in and you watch dramatic films that are made as little like 2-minute shorts. I think that this is going to be an interesting concept, and this is another way for the WWE to get their product out there, to get those wrestlers out there, to get them into that acting world. But Parrish, what do you make of this?
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. Like over the years, we've seen guys, whether it's Hulk Hogan or whether it's Roddy Piper or The Rock, Dave Bautista. The list goes on of people that have gone on to Hollywood. I know I'm leaving out John Cena, so people don't get mad at me. But that's the thing. Nowadays, we're seeing and hearing superstars of WWE say that they want more opportunities to try and do other things. Most recently, we've seen Liv Morgan drop the treble single as her way to expand what she's capable of doing. We all know that Drew McIntyre's been away filming shows. We know that Joe Hendry has aspirations of going out and doing things in Hollywood. And I even believe Jacob Fatu's name is also involved in this as well. So all this does is really give the superstars in WWE all the tools they can have and all the destinations and opportunities that there are to become more valuable to WWE. And whether that's go out and become more known in the Hollywood aspect or even just different fields, it just also shows that WWE is aware. We know we're a global promotion, but we know that there's still opportunities to be bigger. And this just shows you why WWE is continuing always to set the bar on how to be the biggest company in the pro wrestling world.
Yeah, Bubba, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, first hearing about it, I am pretty excited about it because it, like you guys have said, and everyone's going to repeat the same thing. I'm assuming that what a great opportunity for somebody that has never tried acting to try acting, to see if they like it, to see if they're good at it, and a good way to get your name out there as a movie star or someone who wants to do sitcoms, or try it this way first. Hey, if you do really good, someone sees that hey, you know what, this person has potential. Let's put them in this movie. And you get a phone call, and then the ball starts rolling. And that's the thing. You can't just jump into doing movies without trying it first.
Yeah.
This is the best way to start that ball. Start out small, doing little shorts. Walk into the room. Hi, everybody, and fall on your face. Hey, does that work? Hey, they did really good. Cool. Let's do the next one. And just it snowballs. So I'm happy for them, especially if some of these individuals don't have something to fall back on if they get hurt wrestling. Well, now you can try acting. Someone like Big E who can't wrestle anymore but still wants to be out there, try acting. It's a perfect opportunity. It's like going back to school.
Yeah. Logan, your thoughts on this?
To be honest, yeah, pretty much on the same kind of line as Bubba Duke. He was just mentioning Big E. That was one of the names I was going to say. Somebody like him that can't, unfortunately, be physical in the ring anymore could do something totally along the lines of this, where, like, even with the whole, while it was a little bit corny, that Escape the Undertaker thing that the New Day had on Netflix, that was them kind of trying out some acting chops as well. So, I mean, I'd be also interested to see exactly what kind of micro dramas, if it's going to be like series style, or if it's going to be like, 1 2-minute thing will be about Drew McIntyre in a skit, and then something else will be about Jacob Fatu in a skit or something like that. It'll be really interesting to see where they go with this.
Yeah. So Real Short is a dramatic series group. or app. And what I'm liking about this is because it's gonna be more dramatic roles. It's not gonna typecast the wrestlers as we have seen them, because most of the time we've seen them in action films or comedies or something like that. And now it's expanding their repertoire as far as acting goes. And I think that this is a great opportunity for them to try it out, because who knows, maybe next time we could see the Miz the Miz doing a dramatic role as opposed to playing the Marine for the 17th time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I do want to kind of put this out because I am looking at the Hollywood Reporter ad here, and it says the partnership will pair WWE stars with two well-known vertical actors, like you said. Those actors are Mark Herman from Fiance's Betrayal, Dante's Inferno, Puck Me Baby One More Time, which I think is a great pun, and Chase Matson, who's from Married to the Dawn and My Duplicated Husband. And the stars that will appear in the vertical include Drew McIntyre, Joe Hendry, as well as Jacob Fatu, and others promise to materialize in the drama as well. So I think this is really cool that not only is there descriptions of who are those actors that we said earlier, but there's actually dedicated and there's specific superstars that we know right away that are going to be doing something. So that's going to be very intriguing, and maybe this could explain why we're not seeing, Drew McIntyre necessarily come back, because it's not well known that superstars can go and film, come back and do the show, go back. But then we also haven't seen Joe Hendry for a good amount of time either. Was he away filming some of this stuff? And then same way with Jacob Fatu, who we haven't seen in the ring as much per se, but he's been around. So it's going to be very intriguing to see kind of like what these three do.
Yeah, and I'm actually glad that you mentioned Mark Harmon's going to be a part of it, because now I'm even more intrigued. I actually like Mark Harmon's work. But I mean, since you guys, since we're talking about different shows that these wrestlers could be a part of, I do feel like Real Shorts could expand depending on the success of how this dramatic series goes. But we too have our own shows to check out. So here you go, guys.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday night, we are on call as the Raw Patrol is on duty at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday, we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursdays, let us power your dreams with the Xbox Showcase at 9 p.m. Friday, we invite you to come for a ride with the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday, be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. And later in the day, the Locker Room presents Wrestling Recap delivers at 7 p.m. Always be aware that weekend shows can vary in times, as the PLE Patrol and other watch party streams are always a must-see. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day, and watch all of the latest episodes on turnbucklestudios.org/shows. And please do not forget to drop a like, follow, and to subscribe to all of our channels, and when the time is right, all you have to do is tap in.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, it's really quick and really easy. Turnbucklestudios.org. Top right corner, click episodes. And that right there will bring you to all our shows. You can pick which one you want. And it is the most recent episode of that show that will be on that little click button. They are generally loaded up pretty quick. Carl Careful's really good about doing that for us. But again, it's turnbucklestudios.org. Check us out today. And Mr. Best, what time is it?
It is time for our Showstopper segment. And this week, guys, there have been internal discussions about moving the Royal Rumble to a 2-night show. And we're going to discuss that idea, as we have discussed this idea ad nauseum off stream. but now we're going to bring it to the public. And I'm going to start with you, Parrish, because I know that you've got things to say about this.
How dare you assume? But yes, no, you are right. I think I've been fortunate to go to 2 Royal Rumbles, and guess as much as they are extremely great and fun and amazing, you are worn out after each Royal Rumble, every match. And I do think this would be a great time to use a Royal Rumble match as a main event slot on both nights, because it's what everybody's looking for. I get that there's going to be a championship match that, should take like onus and priority, but it's the Royal Rumble and it dictates a main event slot in WrestleMania, or so we like to believe. But you do get a guaranteed title shot if you're choosing a WrestleMania, so there's a bigger plan and there's something even bigger to a Royal Rumble win. And that way you're not wearing down your fan base, you're giving them the opportunity to rest, recuperate, party out, keep it going, whatever the case may be. But now you're able to add double the amount of matches. You can get double the amount of people, and you can do 8 matches in 2 nights instead of 4 or 5. And I think that's going to be good to then really expose the talent that you do have, as well as saying, hey, this person might not have been in the Royal Rumble match like we saw Finn Balor this year, but maybe Finn Balor would be in a title match or a solid match on the card. So that is always something that's going to be really cool to me. And I think this is something that when we look at the big 2 in SummerSlam and WrestleMania as the 2 nights, I think the next PLE that should be warranted, the 2-night thing, is what I think a lot of us consider our favorite PLE, and that is the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, the Royal Rumble is the one event I look forward to every year, and there are times when I watch the show, and sure, I get hyped and I'm excited after both Royal Rumbles in one night, but I realize afterwards that there is such a thing as quality over quantity, and a move to the 2-night format is not a bad idea, because now you can do one night, say with the main event being the female Royal Rumble, the women's Royal Rumble. You can do an all women's night that night. You can do, you can put all the women's championships on the line, then have the Royal Rumble match, and then have that first night set you up for the second night, so that you're even more hyped going into the second night, which would be maybe devoted to all the men and the men's Royal Rumble. And that's how I feel coming out of like these 2-night WrestleManias. I always feel like that first night is always designed to help to hype you up for that second night. And even with SummerSlam does the same thing to me. Bubba Duke, what do you think?
You literally took the words out of my mouth, bro. I was going to be like, why can't we just do a women's WrestleMania and a men's? I don't care if it's the men first, the women first. I don't care. Have one show strictly, here's our women, here's how talented they are. Check them out. So that they're not being outdone by the men. Because I do know some of the matches that the women put on, we're all like, holy cow, I don't know how you're going to top that. And then the men come out and absolutely just destroy whatever happened before that. Which is good for wrestling, because you just building that anticipation for what's going to come next. But I would love to have the women have their own night and just, I know they do their own pay-per-view, but why not have a whole WrestleMania, like not a WrestleMania, but like a Royal Rumble, and let's focus on their talent. So 2 nights works for me. I'm behind it.
Yeah, Logan.
More or less to kind of touch on that same subject, like 2 nights works for everybody. Like not only does WWE eat on this, everybody else gets to. So I mean, if you look at the week of WrestleMania now, how many pro wrestling companies book shows in that city, in that area around that time? As these shows get bigger, it'll become like a festival where it's like WrestleMania access all over again. And you're going to see GCW, MLW, AAA, even though they're still WWE now, you're going to see all these companies kind of come out with these little shows around the area that's going to keep fans engaged throughout that entire whether they do 2 nights just for the events and then they've got SmackDown and they're there for Raw and they make it an entire week-long thing. I think that's where something like this could really go. With the fact that we're going to probably get 2-night Royal Rumbles at some point, yeah, split up the men's and women's, give the women their own night, let them have their highlights, let them have their matches, and then let the men do the same thing and really see what happens.
And yeah, like that. Parrish, you had something to say.
Oh, I was gonna say, could you imagine, say each card is 5 matches main evented by the Rumble match, and you do all the men's matches, then the women's Royal Rumble, and then the next night it's all the women's matches, and then the men's Royal Rumble.
And why couldn't they?
Both
Even
nights
that
are well represented by like everyone.
Yeah.
And you just do something to the point where you have that, or do you just you just mix it up and then it is what it is. But like, the Royal Rumble is one of the biggest interactive matches that the WWE have. And one of the best things is giving it everything you have. I know how interested in the countdown everybody gets. I know how much everyone's like, who's it going to be? Or I think I know who it's going to be. They're dead wrong. So the whole section makes fun of you because you're the loud one. Or you're just ultimately surprised. And it's such a great thing. Like, do we not remember when AJ Styles debuted at the Royal Rumble? Tell me that you really remember everything else that happened in that match. I mean, the hardcore fans would, but the talking point coming out is AJ Styles is in the WWE. Or, how cool was it that Penta and Rey Mysterio opened one out? And then you're seeing something else. Or even just this year's Charlotte and Alexa Bliss starting it off. And they do exactly what we always joked about. They just hugged and posed until number 3 came out. Royal Rumble gives you some of the best moments, and whether they're fun, intriguing, interesting, but they're memorable. So if you're able to cap that in a one night, you might lose on some of the other things that are going on. But if you open it up to 2, you're just creating more time to absorb those memories so you can remember them and talk more about them.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as rushed that way either.
Yeah, and it opens up just that much more speculation, that much more conversation as far as the Royal Rumble matches go. Because let's say the women headline night 1, coming out of that, we could be like, oh, we just saw Lady Flammer make her Royal Rumble debut from AAA. Who could show up in the men's Rumble the next night? That's the kind of conversations that I like having when it comes to the Royal Rumble matchup.
Yeah,
and I
like the idea of Parrish.
We crave that.
Yeah, we do.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I like the idea you had. Why couldn't we do that? Have all the men's matches and then the women's Royal Rumble, so they're all fresh, and then do the next night all the women's matches, so that gives the guys time to get fresh and get ready for that match, so they're not having to wrestle 2 times in the same night, because that's hard to do. Having to do such a physical match, because the Royal Rumble is very physical. Like, you could get hit from out of nowhere and get tossed over the rope and end up landing kind of awkwardly and get hurt, and then you're kind of SOL, so to speak, for your match later that night. Now they have to scramble to find somebody that's not hurt to take over for you.
Yeah,
and you could lose an opportunity at a title.
And you could do a storyline like on the night 1 of the Royal Rumble, right? You can do a storyline leading into the next night. Maybe if the men are going to headline night 2, you have 2 of the men fight. The loser gets the number 1 spot or something like that, and then now you build that intrigue for that matchup.
Yeah, and even think about the possibility on, say, night 1, person X and person Y are facing off for a match, like a blood feud match or a title match, and maybe it's not for a world title, say it's for one of the Intercontinental or United States, or even in the tag, and that carries over to the next night in the Royal Rumble match. Like, you could make those internal stories just that much bigger in a weekend. So when you make the build for whether it's an elimination chamber or Saturday night's main event or Raw or SmackDown or even WrestleMania, if you have the patience to go that long, it's now something you've invested all this time in because you have all this events and moments behind it that make everybody say, I need to see how this concludes. So
Yeah.
If you make this 2 nights, you're opening up an opportunity to just make that road to WrestleMania even better. And I think in all accords, all it comes down to is execution. And we all know that WWE has the ability to execute perfectly when they want, because
Yes.
it's something they do. Now, can they execute it badly? Yeah, we've seen some absolute floppers in the Royal Rumble, but I mean, just how much better would this be if we're seeing a Royal Rumble 1 night and 2 nights? Because one thing I've always been criticizing the 2-night Royal Rumble or the 2 Royal Rumbles in 1 night is sometimes you see the same thing in both. And at least I get a chance to go to bed and sleep and say, oh yeah, they've done this, but I have some time maybe to forget about it or not think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Especially if one's like a carbon copy of the other, you're just like, oh well, this is too close now. You get a lot of the same spots, a lot of the same moments, but at least this way you have that buffer time of matches, eat, sleep, get back to it.
Imagine if we had the Brock Lesnar Ronda Rousey wins in different nights. Do we feel the same about that show, or do we have a different perception? And I think that would have been intriguing enough to go through. So, but yeah, that's, I don't know.
Yeah. Even with this year's Royal Rumble, like I felt like both Royal Rumbles were telling the same story.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I know we talked earlier about the Survivor Series thing coming into 2 nights. I think this one should be the prioritized one. And I know it's obviously the topic, but imagine the buy rates and all that come down to. And then I'm intrigued. We talked about Survivor Series going into a baseball stadium. Imagine if the Royal Rumble, which lately have been in football fields, those things, you're now renting that out for a weekend. That's going to get very expensive. So could we even see night 1 of Royal Rumble be in one spot, night 2 be in another spot, as we're seeing that with a AAA with later this year? So there's always room for that as a potential as well. And then now we're seeing 2 different venues for Royal Rumble, just like we're seeing in AAA, but we saw that in WrestleMania from the start.
Yeah. And again, going back to that, like telling the same stories in the Royal Rumble, I do like the idea of the 2 of it going to 2 nights, because now you can actually tell 2 separate stories in 2 different Royal Rumbles, and at the same time, I would also divide up who produces those Royal Rumbles, just so that different stories could be told. Yeah, this is if this does happen, and I hope it does happen. I hope we hear an announcement soon about this, because I get the feeling that I'm going to say around September we're going to hear more about what's going on with the Royal Rumble, and I do get a feeling we are heading to a 2-night Royal Rumble.
I mean, it would be a lot of fun. I mean, imagine booking a trip around then for a 2-night thing. Like, I can tell you, with the amount of wrestling shows that are happening in those cities nowadays, I mean, you're bound to wear yourself out. But if you're not doing that on a trip, you're not vacating properly.
Yeah.
True enough.
Anything more on this, guys?
No, I think we did pretty good.
I think we nailed it.
Parrish, anything more to say on this one?
No, I think it's more of a wait and see approach of whether or not this happens.
All right. Well, guys, I think it's time we hang up the boots here. And if you guys want to find all of us, it's very simple. You just got to go to turnbucklestudios.org, click that host button. You'll be able to meet each and every one of us there. That is, once again, turnbucklestudios.org. And Parrish, I'm going to give you the farewell here.
Well, as if you want to throw up the graphic, I have to say we'll be rating out on our Twitch side to the chainsaw. So, but before I do that, go over there, say hi, let them know that Turnbuckle Studios told them to tap the F in. But for today's episode, we want to thank every single one that took the time to watch us. But in the meantime, everyone, the world is a scary place. Take care of each other.
Flagship show setting the tone. In the world of wrestling we stand alone. With news and reviews we lead the way. Turnbuckle talk every day. Turnbuckle talk every day.